Raiders and say whoever's going to win the AFC South. And so with that, a wild card team could come out of this division. The Chargers could be better than the Titans, but I do think I understand that. But I think at the end of the day, you just have to put precedence on winning the division because you pointed out your Seattle, the Seattle situation. The reason we bring that up is because that was like the one time it happened. It's not very often that a 7-9 team's winning a division. Rarely is it that bad. I think you put precedence on winning the division. And look, if you're a good team, we saw it with the 05 Steelers. We saw it with the 97 Broncos. If you're a good team, you can overcome the wild card. There's only one bye week anyway. You'll get through it. You can win the Super Bowl. So with that, I think I would leave it the way it is. I'm not with that at all.
KKFN,
H1 Longmont, Denver. You got it.
Yeah, I don't really care anymore. Just wanted to get it in.
You just wanted to
yeah, we got to say it. We got to say it at some point.
We got to say it.
But no, so you like it the way you're fine with the way it is?
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it's a big deal. If they want to change it, change it. I really don't care. I hope that they change the illegal contact defensive holding calls that give defenses automatic first downs. I hope they change that. I'd like to see what it looks like for a year. And then kind of go from there because I think it rewards the game is already hard enough for defenses. It already is. And I think it rewards an offense that shouldn't be rewarded for nothing. And a lot of times you look up and it's a ticky-tack foul that shouldn't have been called, and then it is. It's Mahomes getting bailed out and the Kansas City Chiefs getting bailed out, and I don't like to see that.
What would you say to this? I'll add on to it. What if they get away from that? It's no longer an automatic first down, but it's a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so you would do that because that's kind of where I'm thinking, because like you said, you still have to take away the incentive to just straight tackle a guy.
Right. You don't want to
save
that.
it. Yeah, so if it's 3rd and 20 and you get that penalty, but it's a 10-yard penalty, now it's 3rd and 10, which is much more manageable in that situation because you play the down over. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is maybe change it from 5 to 10, but it's not an automatic first down.
Yeah, I'm good with that. But we do have pass interference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you could look at it from the same perspective as pass interference. We don't see guys just throwing guys down if they get beat.
Right.
I mean, every now and then they'll grab and
That's
hold,
the thing too.
but they're not sitting there tackling guys. Oh, I'm beaten, and they're jumping on the guy's back to take it. You'd rather a 25-yard pass interference than a 50-yard touchdown, right?
Yeah.
We don't see a ton of that. I mean, every now and then. So they have opportunities to do that. Defensive backs do, and we're not seeing a lot of that when it comes to pass interference. And on top of it, illegal contact, defensive holding for these defensive backs. If the ball's in the air, all of a sudden that's going to turn to pass interference.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful, and that's going to be an automatic first down. Obviously, that's a 15-yarder or spot foul, automatic first down. So I would like to see it a year and see what it looks like and feels like because that drives me nuts watching football. When when bad offenses get bailed out because of a legal contact or defensive holding.
And I think it happened this year when the Broncos played the Chiefs in Kansas City. It felt like we had a big 3rd down stop.
Probably.
And it came back. And you're right. The thing is about the illegal contact, it's the other side of the field. And it's a guy who's running like a flat route, and it's got nothing to – and I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not conspiracy. I don't do that. But it always felt like an easy – I never see the Titans bailed out with that call.
Never.
It's always
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
It was, to your point, it was the Patriots back in the day. No, you're right. You're spot on.
That's what I'd do, though. I'd move it to a 10-yard penalty to still – but you make the point, too. How often do we see a guy just pick up the receiver and dump him on his head to get a pass interference call?
Instead of getting beat. I mean, it just doesn't happen very often. And now maybe it will change if they did that with illegal contact and holding defensively. Maybe we would see more of that, and we wouldn't like it. But I want to see it first and see what it feels like and how it impacts the game.
Any rule changes not proposed that maybe something you've got in the back of your head that you want to see? I'm kind of cool with everything. I really like that illegal contact holding one because that one is disruptive to the game. It makes for bad viewing.
Yeah.
But other than that, like we talked about the tush push stop, you can't. My thing with the tush push is that's like saying we want to make the touchdown play illegal.
Yeah, right. I mean, Mark doesn't like the tush push. I don't think. I don't know what happened to. We'll get his thoughts here coming up.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So we'll we got to ask him about that. See where he stands on that today. I think for me, we're trying to make the game too safe.
Because that would be if it's a safety reason, I actually would listen to that more.
We gotta make football violent again. Okay, that's what we got to do. We got to bring some violence back into it. That's what football.
Kick their ass.
That's what football is, right? And that's what we love about it, right? That's what we love about football.
Agree.
So
in the sense, yeah.
And obviously, I'm just kidding to a certain degree, but not fully. I'm not fully. Like you got to be able to hit a quarterback. You got to be able to touch them. If you graze Patrick Mahomes' helmet, it shouldn't be hands to the face of the quarterback, 15 yards. We're kicking the guy out of the game, and he's getting fined $5 million because he grazed Patrick Mahomes' helmet. What are we doing? I mean, it's hard enough for these guys to play defense. I think there has to be something where we take a step back and say, all right, I don't know if we have to replay some of these flags or what, but we can't take all of the physicality and violence away from football and just say, hey, guys, y'all continue to watch this. No, it's not going to work that way. We need to see big hits. We want to see guys get laid out and get smashed. That's just part of it.
And we've got Stink now. Join us. What's up, Mark? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Good, Mark. We're going to dive right into it. We're talking about the proposed NFL rule changes. Me and Stoke, I say leave the tush push. If you're taking it away for safety, you can maybe get me on board with that. But do you want the tush push gone, Mark Schlereth?
Yeah, I can't. I want.
I knew it. Come on, Mark. You get to New York and all of a sudden you go soft on me. I mean, come on. That's not you. And I don't want to hear about how they outlawed the special teams and you can't push those guys into it. When did you become so soft?
Well, exactly that. I used to be on PAT field goal block, and Mike Tice was a tight end, played for the Seattle Seahawks for a long time, played with me in Washington for a year or two. Mike Tice was this big, gangly, 6'8" tight end. Was a head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. And my job was to shove Mike Tice through that A-gap between the center and the guard and try to jam him in there. And they outlawed that because it became too unsafe, right? Guys are going to get hurt, blah, blah, blah. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If we're not allowed to do it on the defensive side of the ball, why are they allowed to do it on the offensive side of the ball, Brandon Stokley?
Mark, it's so different. You're talking about two things that are totally different. Do you realize that, right? You know that,
so?
Right? Because you're pushing a quarterback. You're not pushing a quarterback into a defender, right? You're pushing the quarterback forward, all right, and
into the defense.
Which are
defenders.
No, you're pushing them into the offensive line. When you played back in 1972 and you were pushing Mike Tice, you were pushing his helmet straight into the offensive lineman helmet. So it's totally different. The tush push is a lot safer than when you were pushing Mike Tice. Sorry.
Let me ask you this. So let's say on defense, and my voice may sound a little different because I've got Kleenex stuffed up my nose.
Oh, gosh.
My nose started bleeding. Because I was so passionate. I was so passionate about that, Stoke.
Okay.
You had me.
I got you bleeding.
You had me so pissed off, I started bleeding. So let's say
you're a bleeder.
That we line up in the A-gap, and a linebacker shoves a defensive tackle through the A-gap, hits the quarterback in the ribs or the hip, and fractures the guy's hip. And a star quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is out for 10 weeks. Do you think the rule gets overturned? Do you think they outlaw it then?
Outlaw the tush push?
They absolutely would.
Outlaw the tush push because the defense starts doing the same thing and injures a quarterback.
Yeah, that would happen.
If a quarterback got injured, they would outlaw on the tush push because the defense did the same thing the offense is doing. They would outlaw the tush push.
Well, you can't do that defensively because it's a dangerous play. But doing the tush push and pushing the quarterback into an offensive lineman is not that dangerous.
So it's dangerous on the defensive side,
yes,
but it's not
because
dangerous
you're
on
pushing.
the
Again, you're pushing. If you push the guy, you're pushing the defender right into the offensive lineman, full speed. Boom. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's different than just pushing a quarterback's butt into, the center and then he has to go forward. So if we're gonna eliminate the tush push, then we got to eliminate the quarterback sneak. So that's where I'm at.
So okay. So Mark, I want to know this though. Do you think because Green Bay proposed this?
Yeah.
Is Green Bay proposing this because they're so concerned about the safety of their team and their opponents? Or are they proposing this because they're in the NFC and they want to go to the Super Bowl and they're worried that they're not going to be able to stop this?
No, they're opposing it because they don't want to defend it,
right?
And they don't want to have to put it in, and they don't want to have to risk their quarterback's health. I mean, that's why they're opposed to it, right? Because they're whining. But I think there is a basis for the whining. Like there's very few times I will ever say, man, I want less contact in football. Like, there's very few times I'll ever err on the side of safety. But I will err on the side of fairness.
Oh,
and
Mark.
if you can't do it on the other side of the ball, then you shouldn't be able to do it on the offensive side of the ball.
It's totally different. And I'm so disappointed in you.
This is so